Your attention, please. And now, on with the show.
Live from Paradise Studios in New York, Strong Island Television presents Under the Radar, starring Randy Unger. Brought to you by Magnitude Jewelry. Add a 2 to match your attitude. Tonight, Randy will be interviewing television host Mickey Burns of the hit show Profiles. Randy will also be reviewing the new films Cold Brook and Harriet with special guest critics Rob Harris and Forrest Bennett. And now, here's your host, Randy Unger.
Hey guys, I'm Randy Unger, and this is another edition of Unger the Radar, where we talk all things film. And right now on Skype, I have TV host Mr. Mickey Burns of the hit show Profiles. Mickey, how's it going?
Randy, thanks for having me on the show. It's a pleasure. I appreciate it. It's great talking with you.
Yeah, here we are. Yep. I know this is kind of an unusual situation because you usually interview people, and now you're being interviewed. So how does this feel right now?
I think I'd rather be on the interviewing end.
Yeah.
But this is a new experience, and I'm looking forward to it.
That's great. So I see in the back of you're promoting a new book.
Yeah, the new book is a memoir, and it's called From the Projects to Profiles. And it's a memoir, and it's been something that I've been writing for a couple of years. Writing the book is about 12 months, 14 months, and then it's, I would say, at least 4 or 5 months for editing.
Wow.
You know, because no matter how many times you go over the manuscript, you'll find something else you want to correct.
Right. So is this an autobiography, or does it chronicle just your career?
No, it's an overview of my entire life, and that's one of the reasons, two reasons I wrote the book. Number one, I had Chuck Barris as a guest on my show Profiles, which we've done 500 episodes. And
wow.
We've been doing this on NYC Media for many years. But I had Chuck Barris. Do you remember him from The Gong Show? He's also
the name sounds familiar, yes. It's a little before my time, but yeah.
Before your time.
Yeah. But it's fine.
But when he was a guest,
okay.
Said, Mickey, I think you have a book in you. And I said, yeah, you know, but I don't think I'll ever have the time to get it done. And he said, well, you know, if you write 1 page a day, by the end of the year, you'll have your book.
Perfect.
So first inspiration. Okay. However, I didn't take his advice because I couldn't write 1 page a day. You know, once you sit down to write, you write 5, 6, 7, 10 pages. Right. But I took his advice and I did get it done.
Okay.
The title of the book, Randy, From the Projects to Profiles. I grew up on Staten Island in the South Beach housing projects in the 50s and the 60s.
All right.
And in a way, it's inspirational in that no matter how meager your beginnings, and mine certainly were. My father just got back from World War II, and as most veterans coming back, they didn't have jobs, they didn't have any education, and we ended up in the South Beach projects. We were all in the same boat. But no matter how meager your beginnings, if you focus and you are determined and you strive to get education, you can overcome any situation, no matter how meager they might be.
So basically, it's also sounds like a very motivational story, motivational book.
Yes, I agree. I think it's a combination of inspiration and motivation, but also a peek into the show where I tell behind the scenes stories of my fondest memories of interviewing approximately 500 celebrities.
Now I'm curious about that. Obviously, hundreds of episodes, hundreds of guests. Who were
Yep.
some of the standout guests in your mind?
Well, that's a good question. I think every guest brings something that remains special and memorable. But then there's some that really stand out. And do you remember the actor Eli Wallach?
Oh yeah, older gentleman. He was in a movie with Kate Winslet, The Holiday, I think it
You
was.
got it.
Yeah.
And he was also in The Good, Bad, and the Ugly.
Okay. Yeah. He's been around.
And Wall Street. Been in hundreds of films.
Right.
So after the interview was fabulous. But after the interview, he said, "Mickey, take a walk with me." So I'm walking up Broadway with Eli Wallach.
Cool.
And he has a paper bag, like a Pathmark bag, plastic.
Okay.
And I said, "Wallach, what's in the bag?" And he said, "My shoes." And I said, "Oh." He said, "That's where we're going. We're going to the cobbler, and I'm getting my shoes repaired." So I was, I stopped and I said, "Mr. Wallach, you're a highly successful actor, producer, all of that. Why don't you just go to Macy's and buy 10 new pair?"
Yeah.
I was trying to be funny. He grabbed me by the wrist, stopped me in mid-stride, and said, "Mickey, I grew up in the Depression." And he said, "Back then, we didn't buy new, we fixed old."
Wow.
And I'll never forget that. He died, I think he was like 99 or something like that.
Right.
But that always stayed with me. That after all those years and all that success, he still couldn't shake that experience of growing up in the Depression.
That's crazy. And I would not have turned down a walk with Eli Wallach personally, because that's a fun afternoon, I'd say.
Yeah, and there were so many other stories like that,
That's great. And yeah.
Almost every episode has a unique story to it, and they're all in the book.
What are some of the challenges you faced with the show, with Profiles?
I think the challenges at this point are to continue to make the show better and better, and not rest on your laurels.
Yeah.
We've been doing this for so long, and I have such a great production team. And after every episode, we sit down, we watch it, and we say, "How can we make this better?" Complacency will kill you.
Right.
So I think that's the biggest challenge. And the challenge is always to get guests that are compelling and interesting.
And
and that's a skill set.
Yeah.
After a while, who's going to be interesting and who might not be, simply by watching old tape and what their backstory is. So I think that's a skill set, knowing how to pick your guests, and the show gets better as the guests get better. So you have to know how to select the ones you want to appear on the air.
And how active are you in the booking process?
Very active, because just what you're doing, I can see you now. You're looking sharp. Thank you for getting dressed up.
Thank you, sir.
I should put a tie on.
Yeah. Maybe next time.
Very active. After all these years, excuse me, I've developed a extensive contact with publicists, managers, people in show business. So they're constantly pitching me. So that's one way. I have an assistant who you met before, Shani, and another one in the office, Monina, has been with me 20 years. And they're constantly scouring the emails that come in for guests that are pitching us.
Right.
In our case, we one of the rules of thumb is we like to have celebrity guests who people know.
Right.
So we don't feature too many on-the-come people who think they're celebrities or want to be celebrities. They kind of have to be already.
Okay. And so it's basically all facets of celebrity life. It's actors, musicians, artists and writers, and how does
Yes.
It's all over the place. It's great.
All of the above, Randy.
That's great.
If you know them, and that's it. We want people that when you mention who's coming on this week, well, Deepak Chopra,
Okay.
Oh yeah, he's great. I love him when he was on Oprah. Perfect guest.
That's great.
Last week we had Mary Wilson of the Supremes.
Oh wow.
Perfect guest. Everybody knows the Supremes.
And now, do you appreciate all facets of pop culture, or are you kind of just specific in your vision?
I think all facets. The more versatile we are in presenting people in show business, the more interest we're going to garner overall.
Okay. And I'm curious. So obviously, Profiles is your biggest show.
Yeah.
Talk a little about your career, your earlier years. What was it like up until Profiles?
That's a great question.
Thank you.
Because when I got out of college, I wanted to go into broadcasting. But you're a little bit younger than I. And back then it was BC, which stands for before cable.
Okay.
And the opportunities were limited. You know, you had ABC, NBC, CBS, and a couple of maybe public broadcasting. So there wasn't a lot of opportunities. So for years, I was a teacher in the New York City school system. I was a high school basketball coach. And then, but I always had this desire, and I'm going back 25 years ago, to get into broadcasting. So one of my golf friends was a cameraman at Channel 5. And he said, he wanted to get me in up there so we could practice golf during our lunch hour.
Cool. All right.
That was his reason for wanting me there. But I did. I got my foot through the door on the 10 o'clock news working as a sound man because I had friends who worked at Channel 5. Bill McCreary was my mentor and also golf buddy. John Rowland was a good friend of mine. These names may not mean a lot to you.
They ring some bells, but yeah. Okay.
Rafferty was another one.
Okay.
Maury Povich, I know you know him.
Yes.
We would all play golf together, and that's how I got my foot in the door.
Wow.
But I wanted to be in front of the camera. I wanted to be a reporter. I wanted to be a host. And that took a number of years to make that happen. But I credit Rupert Murdoch for that. Okay.
And what was that moment in your career where you're like, yes, I have made it. This is it. When was that?
When we got the 500 episodes.
Okay. That helps.
That helps. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, I guess after a while, after a number of years, I wasn't getting a lot of negative feedback. Most people and by the way, that's a good point too. Uncle Joe was always going to tell you you're great, right? But I think you need to get some verification on your talent from people in the industry.
Yeah, that helps.
Because they're going to give it to you unfiltered, good or bad.
Okay.
And I was always getting positive feedback. So I got very little negative feedback. So I said, I must be doing something right. And if that's the case, I should continue doing what I'm doing. Okay. And not try to change it. And really what I try to do is be myself.
Yeah. Personality definitely goes a long way.
I think so.
So with your interviewing, what do you hope you get out of your subjects, your interviewees? Through the question.
Well, I think number one and I write about this in the book. Trust has a lot to do with it, because today most of these celebrities are paranoid, and they're also afraid that you're there to dig up the dirt in their lives. And usually, just like we spoke today before your show, there's like a 5 to 10 minute window where you can bond with them. And when I have that opportunity for every episode, I haven't met most of these people. Smokey Robinson, I didn't meet him until 5 minutes before the interview.
Right.
What I try to do is somehow bond with them and build a little trust in that 5 to 10 minute period.
Right.
And how I do it is I research to find out what their hobbies are, what their interests are, aside from what the interview is going to be about. And it usually breaks down a lot of barriers.
Right.
And by the time the interview starts, they feel like they know you a little bit, and they can see the way you're coming onto them, and they might trust you a little bit more to give you a better interview.
Right. You don't want to just go in.
Candid one.
You don't want to go in cold and catch them off guard, or make them feel uncomfortable.
I'm not there to hurt them.
Right.
I'm there to create an overview profile of their life their life and career. That's what I'm there for, not to hurt them.
Right. No, of course.
I've asked many questions. Sometimes they don't like the questions I ask, because you want to ask them sometimes some personal questions because it's part of their life.
Right.
But if they don't want to answer it, you don't keep badgering them. You move on to the next question.
Right. That's great. So, Mickey, finally, what do you
Yes.
hope audiences take away from Profiles? What do you hope they take away from this book?
Well, I think in both cases, we want to give. Let's go with the show first.
Okay.
We want to give part of the celebrity that they're not familiar with. We want to take them inside that life and give them some stories, some information that maybe they weren't aware of. They may be a fan of that celebrity, but you gave them something that they didn't have before they watched the show. As for the book, we want to inspire people, motivate people, entertain people. And in some cases, hopefully that experience from reading this book might make them better.
That's great. Well, Mickey, I want to thank you so much for your time today. This was great. And one host to another, I would say I thank you for everything.
And I thank you for having me on the show. And it's been a pleasure meeting you. And once again, thank you and continued success to you.
Thank you. And we'll definitely be in touch. And also, if you're ever in Massapequa, Long Island, we'd love to have you stop by the studio.
I would love to do that. And the last thing is, the book from the Projects of Profiles can be purchased on BarnesandNoble.com, Amazon.com. It's easy to find.
Great. All right, Mickey, thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your evening. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, Randy. Pleasure.
All right, take care.
You bet.
All right, guys, so we're going to take a short commercial break, but we'll be back with our film review segment right after this.
Under the Radar is brought to you by Magnitude Jewelry. Add a 2 to match your attitude. Patent pending interchange genuine gemstone and crystal EMF protection jewelry. For more information, please visit magnitudejewelry.com/gemgirl or call 718-268-6634.
Hey guys, welcome back to Under the Radar. I'm your host Randy Unger, where we talk all things film, and this is our film review segment, and I'd like to welcome two fellow guest critics today, Mr. Rob Harris. Hello.
Hey,
and it was a few weeks ago we did Terminator 6, Dark Fate, so welcome back.
Always a pleasure.
Yes,
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, sure. And Fars Bennett.
Randy?
It's been a few weeks as well.
What?
Yeah.
Glad to be back on the show.
Yeah. How are you?
Keeping busy.
Good. Busy is good. All right. So, guys, we've got two films to talk about, and this week's films are, in my opinion, neither is great. One is a little bit better than the other.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, a lot better. But,
I'd agree.
You
Yes.
know. So let's just get the lesser of the two out of the way. It's called Cold Brook, and it stars William Fichtner, who also directs, and I think he wrote it as well.
He wrote it too.
He wrote it. Basically, there they go. That's Fichtner on the right and Kim Coates on the left. Basically, they play two maintenance guys at a museum, and they basically one night see the, I guess, quote-unquote ghost of a Civil War slave, and basically they are trying to get to the bottom of this. Why is this ghost appearing? What can we do? Does he need our help? And it basically follows these two maintenance guys who, they're kind of average Joes, and basically on their adventure in finding out the truth behind this ghost.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's a weird movie.
Yeah, I mean, he was like kind of a restless soul, you know, and I know that those guys were also kind of in that same place, you know, as that gentleman, and they, you know, found meaning through ultimately helping him out.
Yeah.
Kind of reminded me of that movie Big Fish.
Oh,
you guys
great
seen
movie.
that one?
Such a better movie
Yeah,
than this.
I know. I agree.
I've only seen parts of it. Never got.
Yeah.
You ever seen the whole thing?
It's
Big Fish is a classic,
I
in my
love it.
opinion.
But yeah, it was for me. It was like a little bit of a lacking story. Like the security guard character, I think could have been a little bit better.
Yeah, I was talking to Forrest about this earlier, and if they just focus on them and made it kind of like a goofy buddy comedy,
Yeah,
that would have been fun and enjoyable.
agree.
Like I kind of felt like they didn't really know if it wanted to be like a sort of like a movie about two men going through a midlife crisis,
Yeah.
or if it wanted
Yeah.
to be this supernatural mystery story.
Yeah, it didn't really know what it wanted to be, and yeah, I mean, I love Fitchner. He's great.
Yes.
I've liked him ever since Armageddon. You remember he had a bit part in that, and he's great on the show Mom. But yeah, I mean, this was just very disappointing in my opinion. He wrote it, directed it, stars in it, but he should have just stuck to just starring. in it.
I think it was well acted. I think it was well acted.
Sure.
I think that he's got some potential as a director. I think maybe he should leave the writing to someone else, or at least someone collaborate more with someone else.
Yeah.
One thing that stood out to me about the film, I thought that the transitions were a little bit odd. You know, there was they were too open, and there wasn't a sense of conclusion with a lot of things. You know, as you know, scenes were passing and stuff. One thing that I really liked though was you know, how they were able to capture the relationships between the characters, and I don't know, the acting was good. I have to agree. You know,
And speaking of acting, Harold Perrineau, who plays the ghost, he was actually on Lost.
okay.
And I think he had a son on that show. I think it was Walt or something. Anyway, he was
I heard that
great.
show's great.
Yeah, no, Lost is a great show. But
I'm probably one of those people who's never watched an episode.
Same.
yeah, really, not one. I pretty much watched the whole thing. Yeah, I kind of skipped towards the last season to find out the big reveal. I won't. It's no spoilers on the show. But yeah, he was on that show. I thought he was pretty decent in this too.
Yeah, I agree.
Kim Coates, who plays his sidekick or whatever, he's great too.
Yeah.
But the movie itself is just kind of boring, kind of a letdown.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, one thing I did. I mean, as someone who, because one thing I did like about this movie was, okay, so the movie was shot in Buffalo, and I grew up upstate in Syracuse.
Okay.
But so even though it's shot in Buffalo, it was actually set in Syracuse, as you can see with the newscasts. So as a Syracuse native, I appreciated that aspect of the movie.
Well, good.
Yeah.
I think you're the only one. Rob, final thoughts on Cold Brook?
Yeah, I mean, I appreciated there was a lot of shots, you know, just on characters' eyes and stuff. I found, you know, and it really conveyed a good sense of emotion. I really like that about the movie. I mean, there's a lot of fantastical elements about it that are interesting. But I mean, if I had worked on that story, I would have expanded upon that and made it a little bit more conclusive. But
Yeah, I mean, this is just your typical. I always say this about movies like this: the typical Netflix movie, typical late night cable movie. You know, it's on. I'll check it out. You know,
I don't know about late night cable. I would probably say maybe maybe an afternoon show.
Afternoon cable. Okay, afternoon cable. Fair enough. All right. Well, I say see it, but I'm not that enthusiastic about it. It's on the radar. It's definitely, but it's not very strong.
I would say stream it.
Yeah. Check it out if you're a diehard William Fichtner fan. Check it out. All right, guys. So I think we can move on to the next film.
Sounds good.
But I just wanted to do a quick commercial break. But yeah, we'll be back right after this. Or not. So we could just talk about Harriet. Now, this is the story of Harriet Tubman, and basically she's played by Cynthia Erivo, and yeah, this is the story of the abolitionist, the slave rescuer, I guess you'd call her, and basically saving hundreds of slaves through the Underground Railroad. We all know the story from childhood. I'm sure elementary school we were
Social studies
yeah,
classes.
we know all
Absolutely.
too well. And basically, this story, it's powerful, it's gripping, it's true, and I think Cynthia Erivo, she's going to get an Oscar nomination for this for sure. It's just a powerful film. Rob, what did you think of this?
I really liked it. Yeah, I mean, it was really beautiful, like the way that a lot of it was shot at night.
Mm-hmm.
I really like that, and you know, not to spoil anything, but like, you know, when she's like having like visions and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I really enjoy those scenes and everything.
The flashbacks, the back and forth.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
that's
those,
a good touch.
Those were interesting. And I also like how it was like a really spiritual movie. You know, how that was like her driving force and everything. But yeah, very powerful, very moving.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot.
Yeah, the acting was phenomenal across the board,
yeah.
I think. Especially from Erivo, like I said. Forrest, thoughts on Harriet?
Okay, so I definitely think Cynthia Erivo was great, and I do think that she at least deserves a nomination.
At least, for sure.
I wanted to love this movie.
Yeah.
But I only liked it. This is like a problem I have with biopics and movies based on true events, is that it's like in the back of my mind I'm always finding how much of it is historically accurate, how much of it is historically accurate, and how much artistic liberty did they take with it.
True.
Like there was a scene where she was when she was first escaping.
Yeah.
I in the back of my mind. I mean, the way the scene was just played out. I felt I had memories of The Fugitive while watching it. Like I wanted her to say. I was waiting for her to say,
I didn't kill my wife. I don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God, that's funny.
I also think that, because Harriet Tubman is a very fascinating figure in history. And I wish that it had I think it could have been.
They could have dug deeper.
Yeah. Actually, like she was a spy for the movie shows that she mentioned that she was a spy for the Civil War. I would have liked to have seen more of that.
That would have been cool.
That's a good point. Yeah.
This is like her earlier years, when her 20s, and you know, her, I guess, humble beginnings of slave rescuing. But
I think this could have been like a 3-hour epic. That's what I would like to have seen.
Well, it was an epic, but I'm kind of with you. It didn't feel as epic as it probably should, because this is Harriet Tubman. She's like a substantial figure in
American history.
Yeah, African American history. You know, so it kind of fell short, but I was definitely I liked it a lot. I was impressed. So yeah, I mean, like I said, the acting across the board. You got Janelle Monáe, who has a very good part in that, and Vonda Curtis Hall, who plays the priest or preacher.
Yes.
So I think the cast is great. The direction by Cassie Lemons. I've never heard that name before. Are you familiar?
Okay, so I had, because before I went to go see the movie, I went to go look up little bits, some details I could on this movie. Mm-hmm. Cassie Lemons, I guess she's done a few movies, none of them I've seen, and then she's also an actress, and so I was going through her filmography. Okay. And the most notable role that I had seen her in was Candyman, which I was actually just watching last week.
The original from '92.
Yes.
Wow.
She was Virginia Madsen's colleague on their project.
Okay, that is very, very random, but I love that. I love that little trivia. Thank you, sir. But yeah, I think movies like this, I mean, need to be made. You know, in terms of the
subject matter.
Yeah,
the talent.
Shining a light on an awful period of history with the pre-Civil War. Mm-hmm. You know, movies like this are very important to the social fabric of our lives.
And also, I would say, in terms of giving a voice to more diverse voices. Yeah. In film.
Right. Same could be said for films like Hidden Figures, which also starred Janelle Monáe. So it's pretty good. Rob, what are some movies that you know of that shine a light on racism and kind of try to combat racism? I mean, there's a lot of movies out there like that. So I just want to bring up a little discussion about that.
There was a movie that I saw. The name of it I can't remember, unfortunately, but it was about the origins of hip hop culture in
that was
the Bronx.
A few years ago, right?
Yes.
Straight Outta Compton.
No, that was
No.
I would say I would say Compton.
Oh, that's
miles away from the
was
Bronx.
all right. Well, same kind of musical genre, but different location.
Right. It was mostly like, it took place in the Bronx.
Okay.
Like after Robert Moses, built his roadways, and like the more affluent families moved away, and there was like a lot of poverty in the area. It was a lot about gangs.
Okay.
And like how, out of that gang culture, eventually like a lot of people started seeking peace. And, hip hop kind of came out of that. And that was, like, really interesting, movie about, like, racism and stuff.
I think for me, Lee Daniels' The Butler. I don't know if you guys
Yeah,
caught
I was thinking about that.
Forrest
as I was
Whitaker's
watching
phenomenal
Harriet.
performance, where he plays a butler in the White House, and he kind of like goes up the ranks, and phenomenal performance by Forrest. And not you, Forrest Whitaker. But what are some of your some films that stand out in your mind that deal with racism?
Racism. I would probably a good chunk. I would say a lot of Spike Lee's early efforts.
Wow, yeah.
Do the Right Thing, Jungle Fever.
Do the Right Thing is that's a film classic. I think I watched that in film class in high school for the first time. I was like blown away. Like this is a movie.
Yeah, I was only a toddler when that movie came out, but
Yeah.
in retrospect, I think that movie should have been nominated for and won Best Picture over Driving Miss Daisy.
1989. It wasn't even nominated that year.
It wasn't even. I think it might have been nominated for like a screenplay, but it never got. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that.
Okay.
But it never got nominated for Best Picture.
But you know what? That same year, I think a movie that was nominated was Glory, with Denzel Washington, Morgan Freeman, Matthew Broderick, and basically that movie deals with the Civil War and the first all-black regiment in the Civil War. But that was a phenomenal film as well.
Yeah.
They're out there. There's some really great movies, and they continue to be made. Harriet, I'm very grateful for this movie, but it wasn't a classic, I'd say. So, yeah, I mean, there's movies like this. It's kind of frustrating because you wanted it to be amazing, but it just wasn't.
What did you feel that was lacking from it?
I don't know. Just it could have been a little shorter. It could have been tighter. I did appreciate the fact that they turned her into sort of an action hero. That was fun.
Right.
But I don't know. It was just lacking in character development maybe or screenplay. But the direction by Cassie Lemon's spot on, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very. I think fantastic performances.
Yeah.
Very well shot. Very well shot.
Yeah. Well,
But although you said you could have been a little tighter, I felt like it could have been a little more dense. Like it could have expanded more on her life.
right.
Like I said, like her years in the Civil War.
Right.
I would have
right, as a spy.
I would like to have seen more of that. Maybe seen her like up until her up until her death.
Yeah. And I think at the very end they say that she lived until her 90s?
91.
91?
Yeah, 91.
That's like another movie right there that they could have just explored.
Or maybe show her early life too.
Yeah.
I think that it really did like a good job of showing like her intention and where she was coming from. There were points in the movie where people were telling her, "Oh no, like you can't do that," but
It was like so she stuck to her guns.
Yeah,
she wasn't even like doing things because somebody told her that she couldn't. She was doing it because like she felt it was right in her heart. And like I appreciate that, and I thought they did a good job with that.
Nice. Well, that's good. So yeah, I'd say see it. I mean, it's a good one. It's a highlight of the year. Bars, see it, skip it, or
I would say see it.
yeah. Rob,
Definitely see it.
Cool. And this is interesting. We have some time left. I just wanted to talk about other films that we've seen lately, stuff that comes to mind. Forrest, anything?
Actually, okay. So because as far as newer, actually, I did see it. There's a couple of recent ones I was gonna bring up at the end of the show. But one's a dark comedy called The Greener Grass. I'm trying to remember who wrote and directed it, but it's a female. It's a pair of women, and it stars that guy who played the antagonist in the new Ghostbusters movie.
Oh yeah. I forget his name. Yeah, like kind of a weird looking guy.
Yeah. But I think I saw one review that described it as John Waters meets John Carpenter, and those are two guys, and
Wow.
two filmmakers I actually admire and have always wanted to because of them I wanted to pursue a career in film.
Yeah.
So it's about
Mixing them together? I don't know about that.
Yeah,
that's odd.
It's like this. It's this weird little it's the whole story takes place in this. It's very surreal.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of reminds me of something that Comedy Central or HBO might have played on a Saturday afternoon back 20, 30 years ago.
Okay.
That was, but
Was it The Greener Grass?
The Greener Grass.
Huh. Okay.
I think, I'm trying. I don't know how I can describe the plot. But all the adult characters are wear braces, and then one family willingly gives their child up to for adoption to their neighbor.
Huh.
It's a very out there.
Does it feel like John Waters meets John Carpenter?
I definitely see the John Waters influence in that movie.
Because I like anything John Carpenter.
And Carpenter, I guess there's also a subplot involving a serial killer.
Okay. Weird. I'm gonna look for it though. I like that premise. It's very weird.
But I would say but overall I enjoyed it. I would definitely say see it.
Okay.
Another one I saw recently was a documentary called Murder in the Front Row.
Okay.
It's a documentary about about Bay Area thrash metal, about bands like Metallica, Exodus, Testament, how this whole scene and this genre formed, and they interview a lot of the major figures in the scene, like club owners, record producers, the members of Metallica, Exodus, Testament.
Okay. Sounds interesting.
Actually, when I went to the screening at Nighthawk last week, they had Alex Skolnick, the lead guitarist for Testament, doing a Q&A session alongside the director.
Nice. Wow. This is heavy metal.
Yes.
Okay. A genre that I am not familiar with.
But
I appreciate your passion, sir.
I'm probably putting that one in my top 10 for the year.
Nice. Cool. What's it called again?
Murder in the Front Row.
All right. I like the title too.
Which is also the name of, I believe it's the name of an Exodus. It's the name of an Exodus song.
That would make sense. Rob, anything lately that pops out to you? I think I know what you're gonna say, but
okay. Zhang Yimou's Shadow.
Okay, that's not what I thought you were gonna say.
Just recently came to Netflix.
Nice.
And I've had my eye on this movie since it was released in theaters, but it was limited release. So I finally got around to seeing it, and it was absolutely incredible.
Nice.
Beautifully shot. It almost looks like a black and white film, but it's just stylized that way. Like even the costumes and everything.
Wait, it's in color, but it feels like black and white?
Yes,
Okay.
it has to do thematically. It's a Chinese film, and it has to do a lot with yin and yang, right? So the light and the dark aspect, clashing and stuff.
Huh.
Really, really phenomenal movie. The music was fantastic. Definitely a must-see.
Shadow?
Shadow.
Not to be confused with the Alec Baldwin.
Right. Yeah, I told my friend that I saw Shadow. He's like, wait, the Alec Baldwin movie?
Cool.
But yeah, have you guys seen Curse of the Golden Flower?
No.
That's another Zhang Yimou movie that's A+.
That's not from the makers of Crouching Tiger. Possibly. Yeah, because I think that might be in that realm. I don't know. All right.
Actually, I was going to because I know that we were originally discussing this before the show, but
Yes.
also saw Jojo Rabbit recently.
I started it. I started watching it. It's a weird one. I don't know. I wasn't into it. But what did you think?
That's another one that's probably going to be going on my top 10 this year.
Top 10.
Wow.
Okay. It's from the makers of What We Do in the Shadows.
Taika Waititi. That's the
director.
The director's name. He's also in the movie as Adolf Hitler,
Right.
As the protagonist's imaginary, Hitler as an imaginary friend,
Right. Of this kid who is basically in the Hitler's youth army or something like that.
Yes.
Right.
But then he finds out that his mother is hiding a Jewish girl in their house.
And the mother is played by Scarlett Johansson. And we've got also
Sam Rockwell as the I guess
he's like recruiting
their
the
recruiter,
kids,
their recruiter
training
/ drill
them.
sergeant.
Yeah. It was from what I saw, it was quirky. I think I need to give it another shot though.
Yeah, it's definitely I would definitely say it's in an acquired. It's given the subject matter, it's a very it's the subject matter and how they handle it.
Yeah.
It's very might be considered an acquired taste for some.
Right. I mean, I went in just because I love Sam Rockwell and I want to see everything he's ever done. So, but it's really not about him at all. It's mostly about the kid and his mother and the girl that they're hiding.
Yes.
But yeah, interesting comedy about portraying Hitler. So you don't see that a lot. But
It's like something. This is like something that only maybe the only other director I could see doing it this way would probably be Mel Brooks.
Yeah.
yeah, I could see that. I'll tell you a movie that I saw recently, and I actually went to the premiere for. I actually covered the red carpet for this movie called Angelfish, and basically it's a romantic drama, basically very indie, and it takes place in the Bronx in 1993, and it focuses on this this Latina girl and this white guy. They're both teenagers or early 20s. They meet. It's sort of like a modern day Romeo and Juliet family story, and yeah, it was pretty good, pretty well acted between these two leads. Princess Nokia was the lead, the girl in it who falls in love with Jimmy Stanton's character. So
Okay.
two young actors on the rise. Princess Nokia is actually a rapper, and this is her first feature film, so she did really well. So,
Sounds interesting.
yeah, I recommend that.
Okay.
And coming up this week is actually the Mr. Rogers movie.
I'm excited about
Won't
that.
You Be My Neighbor?
No, Beautiful Day in the
Beautiful
Neighborhood.
Day in the Neighborhood, okay.
Won't You Be My Neighbor? That's the
Documentary,
documentary, which was
okay.
amazing. And I actually went to a screening of Won't You Be a Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. Also a really great film.
Okay.
And Tom Hanks plays Mr. Rogers. I thought it was going to be. I was a little surprised. But
Really?
yeah, like at how good he was.
Wow.
But yeah, I think I'm going to be reviewing that officially next week, so I don't want to give anything away just yet. But I thought I'd give a little teaser. And I know it's been out for a few weeks now, and it's coming to Netflix soon. I think we should talk about it now. I haven't seen it, but I know you.
I still have.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for it to hit. I'm waiting for it to hit Netflix.
Yeah.
We could definitely break the ice.
And we can kind of chime in with you. You take the lead on
All right.
Martin Scorsese's The Irishman.
Yeah. I saw it at the Cinema Arts Center.
Ah,
And
great place. I love it.
Yep.
same here. I really, really enjoyed the film. The cinematography was stellar. The acting was stellar. And I'm sure that you guys and the audience has heard about the technology that they use to make a lot of the characters look younger.
Huh.
Right.
And,
De-aging
less aged.
technology.
Exactly.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
They did that in that movie? Okay.
Yep.
That's, wow.
I mean, there's some scenes, where you can kind of sense it, but like, it's mostly like seamless. After a while, like you don't even notice. But it follows the characters that it centers around, like through their whole life, which is very interesting. There was actually one scene that was shot, in like a place that's like 5 minutes away from my house.
Oh,
Like
wow.
it's like at Howard Johnson and everything, and like I recognize the buildings in the area, so that was really cool to see.
That's cool.
Yeah, but I mean the acting was stellar. The cast was like really refreshing. I mean Harvey Keitel's in it.
Yes.
I gotta say, there's this one scene towards the end of the film. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Action Bronson, the hip hop artist.
I've heard the name.
Yeah. I thought that was something else. There was also a movie. Never mind.
I think you're thinking of Bronson with. Are you thinking of Bronson with
There was a
Tom
guy-
Hardy?
Yeah.
No, there's a movie where they have an actor who looks like Charles Bronson.
I know what you're talking
You know what
about.
I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
he's like a lookalike.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
Mhm.
what I thought you were going
Yeah.
with, but okay.
Anyway,
Side note.
so, I mean, I could not believe that this guy was in this movie, and it was like a very funny part. I mean, there were a lot of scenes where I was laughing. Yeah, I mean, like there was really
yeah.
good jokes and everything, and like
Yeah.
it was very.
Well, Goodfellas, the rapport
Yep.
between the main guys, De Niro, Liotta, Liotta, and,
Joe
and Pesci. Yeah, in the nightclub, what do you think I'm fun? You think I'm funny?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great writing, and
It really is,
And their
yeah.
chemistry is phenomenal. So I'm
Yeah.
assuming
and
The Irishman.
it came through in this film too.
Nice.
And also, I saw that Ray Romano has a part in it too.
Oh, really? That's cool.
There was something else I was going to say about it that escapes me right now.
Okay.
But yeah, I really thoroughly enjoyed it.
Nice.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. I saw it with my dad, and I was telling him afterwards, like, seeing that movie in the theater, I mean, just seeing it in general, I feel it's almost like you're watching a piece of history, if that makes sense. Not even like, like watching like something that's like in a book, like in a textbook, like a historical perspective, but it's like
The movie
was
itself.
so good
Yeah.
that like taking it in like that is like so
You're watching
special,
cinematic history.
That's what I'm
unfold.
saying.
That's
Yes,
cool.
that's what I'm trying to say.
That,
Yep.
that doesn't happen often.
Yeah,
it should happen more.
Yeah, I mean it was very, very good.
You know what, guys?
Must see.
I want to do a quick commercial break, but we'll be back with more Scorsese talk. Okay?
Sounds good.
All right after this.
Under the Radar is brought to you by Magnitude Jewelry. Add a 2 to match your attitude. Patent pending, interchange genuine gemstone and crystal EMF protection jewelry. For more information, please visit magnitudejewelry.com/gemgirl or call 718-268-6634.
And we're back. Hey guys, Under the Radar. I'm your host Randy Unger, and we were knee deep in Martin Scorsese talk. Here we go. Forrest, what would you say is your favorite Scorsese film?
Oh man, Scorsese, I would probably say. Oh man, it's probably a three-way tie between Goodfellas, Raging Bull, and Taxi Driver.
Wow, that's quite a
choices,
list,
yeah.
sir.
And I would say to this day that Goodfellas got robbed for Best Picture.
Oh yeah, that was Dances with Wolves, right? 1990.
Yes.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that one.
Same with Raging. Well, actually, same with Raging Bull.
That just won Best Actor.
Yeah, Best Actor didn't win. It lost Best Picture to Ordinary People.
Yeah.
And then, although I would say between Taxi Driver and Rocky, it's a toss.
Oh my gosh.
Either one
But
deserved
But
it.
they sort of made up. The Academy made up for it with what's the one with Nicholson?
The Departed.
Right.
Although to me, I felt like Departed's a great movie, but I felt like to me it feels in like the larger scope of Scorsese's filmography,
Right.
it feels like a lesser film.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, I
but it's a
agree.
great movie. But it's just it's not Goodfellas worthy on that
Right,
level.
right.
I'll say for me, I've actually been exposed to it just recently, and it was around the same time as Joker, but The King of Comedy.
I actually just
still
watched
have
that
to
for the
see
first
that.
time just a few days before Joker came out.
And it's from 1982. It's a comedy starring Robert De Niro in kind of like the Joaquin Phoenix role, where he's basically this struggling comedian who's trying to get famous. So, but in this movie, he's actually stalking a late night talk show host played by Jerry Lewis, kidnaps him. And holds him for ransom so he can be on the talk show and have his 5 minutes of fame, 15 minutes
of fame.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's sort of they kind of loosely remade it with Joker, but
I definitely
Yeah,
saw that right
sounds-
away when I saw it.
yeah, and you've got De Niro in both films.
And it's funny how in Joker they kind of they flip the tables have turned. So now he's the host.
Right.
He's the host.
Right, that's what I respected about this movie and at the Joker, and there's so many parallels. And yeah, it's a smaller film. You wouldn't necessarily associate Scorsese with comedy, but he does it really, really well.
I agree.
Yeah, so that's cool.
I would say. Well, actually, I would say that with Scorsese, he doesn't really tends not to do comedies, but he makes a lot of great movies that tend to have good comedy in it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'm trying to think of other examples, but some like gangster movies with strong humor.
Maybe Mean Streets.
Mean Streets. Oh my God.
Yes.
I love that one.
That's his first. That was his first movie, right? His first feature.
Well, no, that was a little. There was actually his first feature. I actually found it at a Hollywood Video when it was at a Hollywood Video near my college campus when it was closing down.
I love it.
Was it's called Who's That? I think it's called Who's That Knocking at My Door. It's very low budget, black and white. It's only like it's easily the shortest Scorsese movie I have ever seen. You will ever watch. At I don't think it's even 70 minutes long.
Wow. And that's who's any notable actors in that?
Harvey Keitel.
Keitel, I love it. He is such a great actor. He's such a random. I was actually watching Get Shorty the other night. It was on cable randomly. And I mean, the movie's
great movie.
Yeah, the movie's 24 years old, so I guess we could say Harvey Keitel's in it at the end. But I won't get into it. If you haven't seen it already, it's got Gene Hackman,
John Travolta,
Renee Russo,
Danny DeVito.
You've got James Gandolfini, Delroy Lindo. It's just a very cool movie, very macho but fun. And I think it was directed by Barry Sonnenfeld.
Barry Sonnenfeld.
Yep. Great director.
Addams Family, Men in Black.
All of the Men in Blacks, actually, except for the
just the first, just the first three.
Yeah, the fourth one was so bad.
Didn't even see it.
Don't even waste your time.
I was while we're on the subject of Keitel. Did you ever see Bad Lieutenant?
No, but I've heard good things.
That's
Did they make a sequel with Cage?
Yeah, Nicolas Cage.
It wasn't. I don't know if it was called. It was a sequel. It was kind of more of a remake. It was a remake, but funny enough, Werner Herzog admitted he wasn't even aware. That he was making a remake. But I guess it was the producers who decided to tack on that Bad Lieutenant name just to get.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
I heard both were very good though.
Bad Lieutenant. Actually, that was another one of those movies that I found in a going out of business sale at Circuit City.
Nice. Nice. I love it.
It's very intense. It's from Abel Ferreira, who did the King of New York.
Oh yeah, that was Treat Williams, right?
Walken. Christopher Walken and Lawrence
right.
Fishburne, and he also did.
I haven't seen that movie.
Did Fear City with Tom Sizemore, Billy D. Williams, and Melanie Griffith.
Nice cast. Got to see those movies.
Did Scorsese direct the movie called After Hours? I don't know if you guys have seen it.
That's like a romantic
I could be
comedy.
wrong. Kind of.
I think he did. Early 80s?
Yes.
Yeah, with Griffin Dunn.
I don't know the name.
He's the main guy.
Right.
I think he falls in love with I don't even know. She's a prostitute?
He's kind of just like wandering around the city, and then it's very like weird and like funny. Like I mean. Yeah,
I think that was like right after King of New York, actually. Early 80s, early to mid 80s.
You mean King of Comedy?
What did I say?
You said King of New York.
Oh, it's all blurring.
We're
at this point.
we're getting all our New York New York crime movies mixed up.
We are. But guys, we have a few minutes left. I just wanted to go around if we have any plugs, anything we want to mention. Forrest, anything coming up?
Anything coming up?
Yeah.
As for I'm looking forward to seeing catching a special Thanksgiving screening of Blood Rage at Cinema Arts Center next Saturday.
Is that Cult Cafe?
Yes, it's a Thanksgiving themed slasher flick.
Oh wow,
cool.
No planes, trains, and automobiles.
I was going to say.
I know. I think Nighthawk is. I believe Nighthawk is screening that too.
Yes, I love the Nighthawk Cinema. I haven't been in a while, but
I've been there. I've been going there quite a bit lately.
Guys, Nighthawk Cinema in Williamsburg and also in Prospect Park now, in Brooklyn. They show old movies, cult films, small films. Basically, they either do midnight screenings or brunch screenings, and pretty much nothing in between except more mainstream stuff. So,
although I remember when it first opened, they were showing a lot more foreign and independent movies.
Oh, really? Yeah. But it's a great place. Yeah. They do Q&As too, so it's a pretty cool place. Rob, anything you want to mention? Any plugs?
I actually saw a trailer when I saw Harriet today for a new Terrence Malick film.
Oh,
I don't know if you guys have heard.
I saw
it's like a hidden place or a hidden life.
I think. Yeah, that looked pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, like I've seen a couple of Terrence Malick movies, but like. Totally blown away by his style.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me the way that it looked of like Days of Heaven a little bit. So I'm definitely very excited
camera angles,
about that.
Especially in that trailer, were great. So
yeah.
It's got my vote, sure. And all right, some plugs from our lovely sponsor, Magnitude Jewelry. We've got the Awaken and Wellness Fair, which is November 24th at the Doubletree Hotel. There's going to be a Magnitude booth where Eileen Reichman, she is going to be speaking on stress and Technology Poisoning. So that's next Sunday, the 24th, at the Doubletree Hotel, the Awaken Fair. So guys, check that out. Go online, try to get to see that wonderful event. And yeah, I just want to thank you guys for today. This was a great episode as usual.
Thanks for having us, Randy.
Forrest, Rob,
Randy?
thank you for being here.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah, talking movies is
Appreciate
always
it.
fun. Yeah, guys, come back anytime. You're always invited. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right, guys. So we'll be back more with more film reviews and interviews next week with Unger the Radar. I'm your host, Randy Unger. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Take care.
Under the Radar is all new next week with more movie reviews and interviews on Strong Island Radio and Television. Stay tuned. We'll see you next week.